If you're struggling to get paid in your photography business and you feel like you've tried everything, you might have even spent hundreds of dollars, maybe even thousands on courses, joined Facebook groups and paid things and people that have promised you to turn it all around in a matter of, a couple of weeks, this video is for you. By the end of this video, you will know how to get really clear on your messaging so your ideal clients will be attracted to you and all the content that you put out there. You will also know why it's so important to do things in the right order in your business. And you'll also learn why not creating synergy in your business might be the reason why things are not working right now. But first, I just want to explain a few things. I just want to talk a little bit about what messaging actually is, because I know it can be a bit foreign to a lot of people. And I also want to talk about synergy and what that actually means. So messaging is just the way that you communicate to your potential clients in your business. It's all your copy on your website, it's all your posts, it's your Facebook campaigns, it's like absolutely everything in your business that has to do with the written word. And this is key to getting all your marketing to actually work for you. Because the reason why I'm making this video is because I've seen so many photographers, but also other businesses just post promos and pay for Facebook campaigns and ads that don't actually bring in any clients because they haven't done the work. So this is super important. So messaging is communication in your business, and it needs to be client-centric, and it needs to touch on a few things that I'm going to go through later in the video, so stick around for that. The other thing is synergy. What is synergy? Well, synergy just means harmony, and it basically means creating a harmonious ecosystem in your business where all parts in your business works together in harmony. That's all that means. So you can imagine if something is completely out of alignment and doesn't work for one reason or another, like people find you online via a blog or social media post, or even just find you on Google on your website, and they click through and they just, whatever you've written on your website makes absolutely no sense to them, it doesn't talk to them, it doesn't relate to them, that's going to get them to just click away and not take any further action. All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty of this. So first, we're going to talk about something that's called a hierarchy in your business, right? There are different levels that you have to get right before you can move on to the next. And I see this all the time. It's kind of like the case of once you know, and you can't unsee it. And I did it myself. Like, I am not an expert yet. Maybe one day I will be, but I keep learning. I've always never stopped learning. And this is something that I've learned over the years, trying to build my own photography business that at one point was just giving me a lot of new grey hairs, to be honest, because nothing was working. And that's when I started digging and learning about marketing. And I came across this principle, which it's just revolutionized how I think about business. And what it's helped me to do is put my business hat on a little bit more firmly than I would have otherwise. And I know this is something that we as photographers, we're artists, we're creatives, and we just don't really seem to be naturally gifted in that respect. Obviously, I'm generalizing here, but you know what I mean, right? So we are artists. We like to get better at our craft, and we love what we do, and that is amazing because that is the basis of her business. But sometimes the time comes to when we're not just naturally getting bookings, just flying through the door by no effort. That's when it's time to put on the business hat. Okay, so the structural hierarchy in a business, I sort of divide it into 3 levels. And let's start with level 1. Level 1 is the foundation, the building blocks of any business, not just a photography business, but any business. Basically, if you have not got that right, if you haven't, spend a lot of time just working on those building blocks, your house will fall apart. Your business will fall apart, or it will never really get off the ground, or you will just really struggle to make a decent living, basically. And a lot of people don't know about this structural hierarchy in a business, and that's why they just can't really get anywhere. So I'm here to help you. I'm going to explain exactly what those things are. Level 1 is the foundation, and that's things like just having your website set up properly. Branding, have an idea of your branding and what your brand voice is, your identity. And we're not really talking about logos and colors here, but it is part of it, but it's just like, that's the visual identity. It's a small part of it. And things like having your Google profile set up properly so people can actually find you and you're like a legit business. Do you have a content and marketing strategy in place? And it doesn't have to be elaborate, just a really basic sales funnel of some sort, which I'm going to talk about in another video and explain a little bit how to do that. Have you got that? Have you got any thoughts on how you're actually going to get clients? Now, are you going to be blogging? Are you just going to be posting willy-nilly on social media and hope for the best? Throw some more spaghetti at the wall and hope it sticks? You don't want to be doing any of that. You need to have a clear strategy. And you might be asking, like, how do I know which strategy is going to work? Well, you don't. You just try things, and then if they don't work, you don't feel they align with your values, they don't feel good, you move on to the next, okay? We all do. This is part of having a business. There's not one path. So what I used to do is, I'm kicking myself for spending all this money now, but I used to do Facebook ads. And, I got some success, but essentially I hadn't done all the hard work, so they kind of fell a bit flat. And no one was telling me, hey, it's because you haven't got your foundations right. It's like, I thought I did, but had I done any branding work? Like, did I even know what my actual clients wanted? Did I know the pain points? No, I didn't know any of that. So that has to be done. Level 1, your messaging has to be on point, or everything else will fall apart. All right, let's just double down a little bit on this level 1 business, because it's really important, and I don't want to just like scoot over it and just be like, okay, I've mentioned it, so it's in there. It's like, no, I want you really to understand this, because a lot of people just make their own website and it's, pop up some photos and they're like, contact me here, and then that's it. It's like, no, that's so much more work goes into it and needs to go into it. Everything on level 1 needs to work in synergy. That's that word again. It needs to work in harmony. It needs to be seamless, and it needs to make sense. If someone finds you on Instagram, they need to be able to click through and find you see your portfolio on your website. And that needs to correlate with what you have on Instagram. That's why it's so important not to have different kinds of work. Say you're like a headshot photographer, but you also do like arts festivals and event photography, but your website is all about headshots, but your Instagram is all about artistic events in the local community and stuff like that. Like, that makes absolutely no sense to a client who's looking for a photographer for whatever reason. See, that's synergy, that's disconnected. And that's going to confuse people. And what does a confused person do? They say no and they don't book. So that's why that's super important, okay? And your messaging, if you don't get anything else right, if your branding kind of sucks and your logo is ugly, I don't care. If you get your messaging right and you're asking the right questions and you're attempting to answer them with your copy, that's all you need to do. I don't really care about anything else, because if you get this one thing right, everything else in your business will just kind of slowly come together, okay? So level 2 also encompasses the customer experience, which is also very important. Hey guys, Future Editing Stina here. I seem to have done it again. I have skipped over a few things that are quite important. So I just wanted to step in here and explain what level 2 of the structural business hierarchy is. Basically, it's just all the things that you do to market your business once level 1, the foundation of your business, is all done. And that way you can create synergy. It's just not a matter of taking the money, going to do the photo shoot, and then just deliver the photos and then see you later. You got to really craft an experience for the client that takes them from A to B in a really beautiful way and an effortless way that makes them feel great and just makes them feel like it's a super easy way to go through the photo shoot experience. Okay, level 3 I'm not going to spend a lot of time on, because level 3 for anyone being a photographer and not like a massive studio hiring people is not really going to be relevant. But level 3 is CEO level. That's when you start hiring people, you start to outsource everything in your business, and you kind of take a stand back and you become the manager of everyone rather than actually doing the work. And I'm not going to talk about that, because if you're watching this, my bet's going to be that you're not quite there yet. So there's absolutely no point. I'm not there. I don't want to be there. So I kind of tried with my other business that I have, and found out that managing people is not really my jam. So let's move on to the next thing. So once you understand those two levels of the business hierarchy, you can now go forth and conquer. Okay, so how do we get clear on this messaging things? I feel like I've said messaging a million times in this video, and it's for a good reason. Your messaging must be aligned with the transformation or the results that you are promising. If you are promising relaxed, beautiful photo shoots that are stress-free, and you can definitely, you know how to handle toddlers and kids of all ages, and even, you know, dogs or cats, you need to communicate that. You need to tell people that. But it seems such a simple thing, but I am amazed how many people don't actually do that. It's like, no, but it's there on my website. And then we take a look at the website, and it's like one sentence in like font number 12 in like the middle section of a page somewhere on a website. It's like, no, like your key value should be like top, front and center on your website, and it should be something that you constantly talk about in your content, and it's not happening. And that's, if you don't like, I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot here, but I just don't know any other way of saying it, you know? If you have questions, please comment below. If there's something that's really not hitting home, that's not really landing for you, I'll be happy to talk about it in the comments. I'm super passionate about this because I know how important it is. So type away down there, let me know, and we'll have a little chat. So there's a couple of different levels to messaging and what you should be talking about in all your copy. So one thing is, or the first thing is the external desires and wants of a client, right? So for a family photo shoot, what they want beautiful photos of their family on their walls, okay? And then that's the external part. And then there's the internal part. And that's it. They want a really nice experience. They want photos to look back on for years to come. There's like a sentimental value there, okay, that you need to sort of talk about. Then, lastly but not least, there is the pain points of the clients. You know, what are the worries and the concerns that come up for them? You know, what's the first thing? You know, put yourself in their shoes. Like, what's the first thing that comes into your mind when you're like thinking about having your photos taken? I don't know about you, but for me, it's like terrifying fear. I don't like being in front of the camera. No one does. That's probably one of the first things that they think about. Now, how will I look? Do they know how to make me look good? Even though I put on a bit of weight. So, you know, I want to lose weight before I get, you know, to the photographer. And that means they're never going to get photos taken, right? We're all the same. And then about the kids, you know, do the photographer know how to actually handle 3 kids? Little kids, big kids, doesn't matter. What about the grumpy husband who doesn't want to be there? Do they know how to handle that? Those are real things that they actually worry about. And it's not something they go around thinking about for, you know, hours on end. It's just a quick thoughts that come in there, but it creates that nervousness, the fear. You know, it creates resistance that you then have to overcome in your copy and your communication online. And that's exactly what messaging is. You speak to those pain points, and then you basically put yourself in your client's shoe, and that means that anyone who reads that can relate to it, and they're like, oh, actually, yeah, no, they're right. No, that's exactly how I would feel. And okay, well, I'm glad they know what they're doing. Okay, so they've got that many years experience handling clients like me with 3 kids. They're unruly, don't know what they're going to act like on the day. Like, is it going to be a complete disaster? Are we going to be the first family on earth that just could not get our act together and we ended up with no photos? All those things are things that clients will worry about. I have a son and I haven't taken him to be photographed yet because I worry about these things. I haven't actually found a local photographer who has spoken to these pain points that I have, so I'm not convinced. That's it. I'm not convinced. So that's your job. You gotta gently convince people that you are the photographer who's gonna get it all right. You don't have to worry about a damn thing. I know what I'm doing. I've done this 100 times. That's your job. I hope that makes a little bit of sense now. Tell me in the comments if it's making sense. All right, so you might be saying, Stina, that's all great. I get it now, but like where do I start? It's a bit overwhelming. I totally get that. So I'm here to help you. So I've got a few questions for you that you might want to go through and just ask yourself. So the first one is, does your website help you or hinder you? Be honest. It's okay if you made it yourself. It's not about that. It's about, is it doing the work for you? Your website should really be your 24/7 sales assistant. You know, does it take them from A to B? Does it take them on a little bit of a customer journey? Is it easy to navigate? Things like that. Does it show your best work? Not all your work, just your best work in a great way, in a great layout. And the next thing is your work, this might hurt a little bit, sorry. Is your work actually as good as you think it is? I'm guilty of that. For the longest time, I thought I was the shit. But then I realized I really wasn't. I was okay, I was good, but I wasn't that great. The thing is, the reality check is that if no one's booking you and you think you're doing great and you love your work, maybe it's time to have an honest look. Is it time to eat a bit of humble pie and get down back to earth and just try to improve our skills a bit more? I know this was a lot, so if you're still here, thank you for watching. It's not over yet, by the way. I'm still here, I'm still yabbering on, but I'm really passionate about this stuff and I really want to make sure you guys get it right. So if you'd like a bit more help with this, you can hire me for an hour and we can have a chat on Zoom. And what I can do for you, I can basically identify where in your business things are not working. I'll take a look at your socials, I take a look at your website, even your portfolio if you like, and I will very, very quickly be able to tell you where you need to focus your efforts. I find that when you start a business, that's one of the hardest thing is like knowing what should I focus on next to actually make a difference and make things move forward. Do I need a new website or do I need to work on my craft a bit more? Is my lining off? Like, is my customer experience absolute rubbish? What is it? And sometimes it's not just one thing, it's a lot of things. But at least it'll give you some direction and like a bit of help to get you on the right path. More than happy to oblige. There's a link down in the description if that's where you want to go. You can also send me an email and ask me some questions. That's also okay. If you want to learn a bit more about business and photography, please watch this next video.